Looks like we got pretty beat up on the business-friendly category. So I guess of all those people that were mentioned, how many of them actually had a business, function that they tried to move through the city hall? I mean, I don't know that. I mean, it'd be interesting to know how many of those people petitioned the city for various things and didn't get the desired outcome, or what obstacles they felt they encountered in the process. I mean, it's easy to say you're not
Yes.
business friendly, but what do they have to back it up with?
Here's what we heard. Yes, some of them actually had business. This is where they came in to try to do business with us. They came into our development review department, tried to move through the process. Some of the concerns we heard was cost. We heard time frame. We heard responsiveness. We heard certainty in terms of not knowing what would happen, getting it all the way through the process. So we actually heard things from the front all the way through to the adoption phase once for their projects.
But we have a pretty good idea of what projects have been through, this council. Which ones weren't they happy with? I mean, I can't think of any that, that we blockaded by any means.
Well, I think there could have been also. I mean, it's not just the large projects. I think it's the small pieces. I mean,
right,
that people go through that where they maybe tried to add to a business, or some of our signage and all those things go into the perception. And that what we battle and what we'll continually battle is, although they may have not had a direct involvement, someone they know did.
Mm-hmm.
So then the perception becomes a reality of it, and that's a really difficult thing to manage and to overcome, because until they go through it one time, they don't realize that their perception was actually incorrect. So it makes it more difficult for us to move forward in that respect.
Yeah, and I look at the list of the people that came. I mean, if you look at the meeting on the 26th, shoot, I can pick out 4 different entities on there that probably would have had some kind of projects. At least that many. I'm not going to put the individual business owners on the spot.
I know for a fact, the O'Connors went before the planning commission, to try and get some, apartments built. There were
Right,
difficulties
but
there.
Yeah.
But part of the,
Sam Boyajian had a heck of a time trying to get his drive-through window.
Mm-hmm.
Arvest Bank got tortured a little bit about their new building that got approved, that we approved.
Quick Trip with the
recently.
sign committee.
they're all moving forward. There's always going to be conflict.
Yeah.
in trying to get.
David Fessenmeyer has ongoing business with the city. Shirley.
But nobody's.
Really, Bruce.
It's not like we've. They've all gotten what they've wanted.
But
there's a process to go through, and for instance, on the O'Connor property, I think, as I recall, the density of that plan was different than what was prescribed by the ordinance. So, of course, they had problems getting that through. It was I don't remember the exact details, but the number.
That was actually architectural standards, if I recall.
Well, but it was also
specifically. But I think the essence was the. Not so much the specific plan or the specific event. It's the common theme associated with trying to get answers. The sense that the staff are not empowered to answer the question. That I can't answer that question. I've got it, because they don't have a sense that there's clear direction from for them to move forward. That just basic customer service, blocking and tackling is what I would call it, as far as answering questions or finding out information, returning phone calls. It's not I don't think I would look at it as a single event, more so a combination of experiences that build into an overall dissatisfaction, which is generally what you're going to find in any entity, whether it's a city or a business or whatever. It's not that single thing. it's a combination of that, and it really does begin at the front line, you know, how the phone is answered, how the call is ended, how you know, just all those simple things, and that's really what it comes to. I think, you know, where we look, and it's like how we look at the survey, we don't necessarily look at it from the standpoint of it's good or it's bad, or these are bad people, or anything like that. It's a point. It's a place where the perception says we are, and we need to move the line. Now, if we're at, you know, 20%, it's pretty easy to move the line. If you're at 96%, it's a lot harder to move the line. But, you know, I think what we take from it is what we should take from our survey is that, you know, this is a perception, real or otherwise, and that we commit to improving that perception, because from that, all that we can realize would be good. You know, I don't think there's a statement that says we need to give up our standards. I don't think that's what was communicated. In fact, if you look at some of the comments imply that we should actually raise our standards when it comes to those kind of things. But, you know, things we you know, the cost of a permit, you know, that's you know, it's a legitimate statement. Now, we then benchmark where we are compared to others, and then we decide, you know, are our permits higher, lower, or, you know, in the right ballpark?
Or do they cover the cost of what we're providing as a service, is
Right.
another way to look at it. And it's that real or otherwise word, or combination of words that you use, I think that we should be documenting is their perception reality? I mean, you
Most
know,
likely.
everybody's gonna go through a process and hit speed bumps in building, and, you know, planning, whatever the process that they went through, they're all gonna have hiccups. But the question is, did we do enough to really show them the process to begin with and say, really, this is exactly how we, you know, move the process through the chain? I mean, I mean, in example of the O'Connors, okay, so if it was design standards, apparently we have standards and they did not meet them. So, I think they came back, or we came back with recommendations. The final product, as far as I know, is to specification, you know, to our specifications, and I don't see it, it's not being built yet, so, I mean, that's their prerogative, not necessarily our fault. Would you agree?
And that may be part of the business-friendly process, is having a, you know, a cut sheet or a pamphlet or whatever that says, this is how you need to do this, you know, that this is how you need to go through the process. These are the questions that will be asked. This is the information that needs to be provided. If you look historically, where we have our challenges are generally with, you know, small business folks that are developing, rather than the larger corporate folks, because the larger corporate folks have these, you know, they do it on a frequent basis. Somebody like Sam, you know, Sam's a pharmacist, he's not a developer, so he doesn't, you know, and so it's a challenge to go through that process, and I think that's, you know, maybe not get so hung up in, you know, the specifics of what it is, just to understand that perhaps we can move the bar, perhaps we can get better at what we do, and not to say that we're bad at what we do. I think we have fantastic employees that work very hard every day to get things done, and there are, you know, countless examples of that over and over, of how they go above and beyond. But now this perception is there, so what do we do to fix that perception? You know, and it may be that simple. It may be, you know, how we answer the phone or have a pamphlet. But I think that's to, rather than you know, begin to, I don't know, argue the